Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Nathan Nerdark.
Nerdarchy is Ted.
And in this Monster BFF, we're talking about dead beholders and fighting frog legs.
Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy the newsletter, get weekly gaming tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So we got another Monster BFF, and this time we're going to pair the Grung, which you can find in Volo's Guide to Monsters on page 156.
And we're going to pair that up with the Beholder Zombie, found on page 316 of your trusty monster manual.
So I forget why we came upon this Monster BFF and why we wanted to stick them together.
I do. I remember. The Grung do poison stuff, and zombies, especially beholder zombies, are immune to poison.
They don't care. They eat it like candy. It's so good.
They
And
coat them with it.
since the Beholder Zombie's got the ability to fly, and it's large,
It's like a mobile tree.
you could have the Grung riding on the Beholder Zombie as like a mount.
I was seeing this going one of two ways, right? One is basically the Grung turning the Beholder zombies into to war platforms, right? These flying war platforms. Or I kind of like the image of the Grung King flying around on a throne that's mounted in the center of the Beholder's head.
I like them both.
So, like we said, there's a great synergy with these two monsters because of one does poison damage, one's immune to poison, but there's some other things going on as well.
Well, you have, because beholders fly, they're kind of hard to get to a lot of times. And you have, zombie beholders also fly. And then you have the Grung's ability to jump. So they can jump on and off of these mobile war platforms without dealing with having ropes and things like that. So if the players can't jump as high as the Grung, which they probably can't, then you have this nice getaway where they can shoot from, they can do different things from without getting hit.
You also have the big advantage of the Grungs have a very low CR. They cap out at a 2, and the Beholder Zombie is only a 5. So, like, you could really, use this from, like, 5th through 10th level and be able to have, up to, a whole bunch of Grung and a Beholder Zombie or multiple Grung on multiple Beholder Zombies.
It's going to make for a fun encounter. So the places this is going to take place it's either going to be in a forest, in a jungle, or the swamp. So this is going to create also interesting places for the PCs, whether they have to deal with the water, they're climbing trees, swinging from vines like Tarzan maybe. And it's also going to kind of maybe limit the movement of the beholder a little bit. But in this instance, I think it's okay. You could also do tree villages if the Grungs have a tree village. That would make a fun place to encounter this combo as well.
Another thing with the Beholder is going to have, it still has some of its eye rays attacks that it would have while it was living. So it's got like an Enervation Ray, which does negative damage. It's got the Disintegration Ray, which is nice because it can disintegrate someone to little tiny bits and they could be totally dead.
Not so nice for the person, though.
Well, I mean, but it's pretty cool to have that it might happen. The possibility that it is like that level of danger. And then there's a Fear Effect Ray.
And then a Paralyzing Ray.
And a Paralyzing Ray. So a little bit of variety, not as much as a true Beholder, but you're also dealing with a CR5 zombie instead of the nastiness that is a Beholder.
And you do have to factor in that zombie aspect of it so that it has the ability to shake off damage once you've gotten down to 0. So it's like, oh, well, I passed my Constitution saving throw. I'm going to keep fighting.
You didn't use radiant damage, and you didn't crit me. So what's like a fun and interesting way for us to use this in the game? So I'm thinking, especially if you want to have multiple beholder zombies, right? For what you're going to need is a ready supply of beholders, for one. 2, we've already established Grungs have spellcasting capabilities. Do they have the spells we need? No, but we're GMs and we can hand wave that. We can have rituals. We can have magic items.
They could have enslaved a necromancer. They are a slaver race.
They could have enslaved a necromancer,
or really anybody who can cast an animate dead.
This enslaving enslaving a powerful spellcaster might be a little bit dangerous. It's a possibility though, or maybe the Grungs work for them. But I'm seeing a beholder graveyard somewheres. Maybe in your world, there's a place that beholders don't even know why they go there, but when they're about to expire, if they can, they go to this place. And, they do that, and the Grung have found it. So they had this ready supply of beholder corpses, and once they get whatever they need in order to raise up a beholder, they grab one, make a beholder zombie. Well, maybe that's the real problem. Maybe the players have to figure out how to stop this like mini factory of beholder zombies. And it could even be a little while before the players actually even encounter the Grung, right? They might just start encountering beholder zombies first, and it's only when they actually start to try and figure out what the problem is and where this is coming from that now they're dealing with not only the beholder zombies, things have escalated. Now they've got the Grung riding them. Like maybe you have 3 or 4 of them on a beholder with bows and arrows. They're shooting poisoned arrows at you. Sure, they're not particularly powerful by themselves, but when you add them to the mobile artillery that is the beholder zombie, it can be quite the threat.
I was thinking of another way that they could have that ready access to beholders is if you had like a hive variant of beholders, where rather than splitting into 2 and fighting or leaving each other, you have that big nest of them, which is one of the variants in the Volo's guide.
That sounds like very well it could be, but the question is, how are they getting the dead beholders? I'm thinking if they found this nest of beholders, that the beholders are going to be eating a lot of frog legs.
I would agree.
What if we have this nest and whatever beholder is in charge, the Grung are literally the quote unquote servants to get rid of like the bodies, and they found a use for it. Like when they have infighting, because beholders are going to infight.
That's like the whole nature of being a beholder, actually. If you go by like the beholder lore, yeah. But yeah, that's a good possibility. Maybe there's a beholder selling off beholder corpses to the Grung. Like maybe like there's this, and it could like lead into an adventure later on because there's this beholder slayer that is actually a beholder, or it could be something else. Goes out, finds beholders, murders them dead, and then is like, what am I gonna do with this? And for whatever reason, he's met up with these Grung who've figured out how to turn beholders into zombies, and like maybe they're the Grung king. That's like his fetish, is having beholder zombies. I don't know. Maybe he's been burned in the past with other kinds of slaves, and he's like, you know what? Zombies make much better slaves, so I'm going with the beholder
100% loyalty.
Yes, there's no needing to poison its food, no needing to worry about whether it's going to rebel today or not. They're just loyal to the grave
and beyond.
Another idea is, perhaps the Grung have like an artifact, and like, for instance, maybe a mirror, right? And they have the ability to reproduce things that appears in the mirror. So what they do is they have a beholder. For whatever reason, they've gotten their hands on one beholder zombie, and they use this mirror to make more. But they can't just do it. They need something to fuel the artifact. Maybe they need blood sacrifices. Maybe they need rare or expensive components. But I kind of like the idea that they need blood sacrifices. So they want to build this army of beholder zombies, and they do it by basically cloning or making these mirror opposites of the ones that they have. But they need to power it. So in order to build this up, they have to go out. They have to bring in these victims that they're going to sacrifice. Well, now there's a problem, right? The players, they're in this village, they're in this town or whatever, and people are going missing. And it's probably like a river town or something along those lines, or a lake town, and the players are like hired to investigate. And what they're finding out is people are disappearing, and they have to figure out where they go. Well, for whatever reason, they're being taken and drawn into the swamp, and maybe they come across the ritual, or maybe they investigate, and that's when they discover Grung, or maybe they discover the beholder zombie, and they have to deal with this, right? And this is just going to keep escalating until they can figure out where the tree frog village, which is probably up in the trees, is, and then find the hut where they keep this artifact, and lo and behold, here they go. They've been pumping these things out. Well, how many sacrifices have they done so far? 2, 3, 5. Well, maybe that's how many beholder zombies they have. Depending on what your game needs and what kind of threat level.
And then becomes the issue of, do they destroy the mirror? Do they use the mirror to try and reverse the process on any of the the sacrificed people? You can take this in a number of different directions.
That's true, but they did need blood sacrifices to make the duplicates. So chances are that thing is probably not a nice piece of work.
Yeah, it's like trying to shove your sandwich out of a vending machine back in and get your money back. Like,
or you're like, we need a blood sacrifice to undo that blood sacrifice.
yeah, or it could be a thing where some people come upon you and they misinterpret that you have this terrible evil artifact mirror that kills people and makes duplicates because you're trying to destroy it. It's like, yes, that's what an evil villain would say.
Yeah. Or perhaps there is a quest you could go on to because maybe it sucks in the souls of those individuals that sacrificed and they fueled the machine, and now maybe you can't bring them back, but maybe you can free their souls if you figure out how to destroy the artifact. Just some ideas, ways you might want to use the Grung Beholder combo in your game. The question is, would you use this in your game? Have you used it in your game? We have a place for it. The comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can check us out over at nerdarchy.com.
Or you can support us over on Patreon.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.